3, 2, 1.
Yay! Hey, everybody, welcome to the JKA Star Wars podcast, brought to you by JKAgear.com. Go check it out for all your sweet Star Wars needs. Today on the podcast, we have Matt Galupo,
Trevor Adams,
AJ Helfet,
and Kevin Burke.
Woo! We got
That's the best you've ever done it. That's
everybody.
The best.
What do you mean?
That was
you didn't mess up the intro at all.
You
we're
hit every
commenting
point.
on the intro. We're
Yeah.
already being meta on this podcast. Okay.
We do that all
Thanks,
the time.
thanks, guys. Thanks.
Come on.
I will say I practiced it before the podcast.
Don't do that
I
anymore.
did. You
Why
guys
did
were
you
here
tell
with
us
me.
that?
Yeah, you guys know I didn't practice it. It was because I wasn't ready, Kevin.
Okay.
I wasn't ready for your countdown.
you weren't in your head.
I
wasn't.
like to surprise 'em.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's
just
good.
What
out
are we
of
talking
nowhere.
about today, Matt?
So today we are talking about just the title. Thanks, Trevor. Today we are talking about the title of episode 7, The Force Awakens.
Oh, okay. I was
Yeah,
Oh.
just to remind you guys,
Yeah,
in
yeah.
case you don't know.
Yes.
It's called The Force Awakens. And specifically, we're talking about the Force part of The Force Awakens. So I want to talk about today, this is just going to be a Force episode. So this is something that in 4, 5, and 6 was intentionally nebulous, was like this, mysterious, whatever. And then in 1, 2, and 3, they tried to nail down just a little too much.
Oh,
They tried to
yeah.
get too specific. And then in Clone Wars, they kind of backed off and tried to find like this mid-ground. So I want to talk about where the Force is, what it is now, why it's awakening, why was it asleep, and all,
Who put the
all
Force to
those
sleep?
things
Who put the
together.
Force to sleep?
Yeah,
Did
yeah.
take too much Ambien? Right? Drink too much?
So to
Maybe.
start out, I want to hear your guys' definition of the Force.
Space magic.
Okay, just the
All right.
Force is space magic. So very similar to just magic.
No, because it's in space.
Oh, okay. What's the difference between magic and space magic?
I feel like magic is a lot of like chanting and like rituals and stuff, which I guess there are some. We see with the Nightsisters.
Yeah.
They do most of the magic-y type thing with like the chanting and the rituals, and they stand around and they like have like they all drink from a bowl together, and it's like, oh, it's force juice.
For those who don't know, the Nightsisters are a witch cult in the Clone Wars.
Thank you, Kevin.
What
on the
planet do they
planet
live on?
of Dathomir.
Dathomir. Yeah.
Yeah, Dathomir, where the Rancors come from also.
Isn't that where
That's the
also
What a
Rancor
terrible planet.
What a
homeworld.
lovely
What's,
place.
Yeah.
Also the planet where Darth Maul was trained?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know if
within
that's the home world of the Zabbix.
There's
Zabbix, thank you.
Yeah, I don't think that's the home world of the Zabbix, but there is at least a Zabrik colony there. That would be, yeah, maybe it is. Maybe like Clone Wars did say that, but like Dathomir in Legends and in
Go
now
on.
canon is.
Tell us this very interesting fact.
You know what?
What do you got, Matt?
I hate
What's
all
the
of
thing
you.
you're saying?
The Force! Yay!
so
Space magic. So
Yeah,
we have
so-
all right. So space magic.
It's more of a like visceral and like a feeling thing than a like you can learn it from a textbook thing, which in like magic cultures that seems like there's more. They're very similar. One's in space.
Okay,
That's
all right.
basically
So
it.
space magic. What's your definition of the Force?
I always thought it was kind of the thing that connects every living creature and allows it to live. It's that
Yeah.
life energy.
Luminous beings are we?
Yes. I mean, in the they call it the life
Yoda.
force. I mean, that's what the Force kind of is short for, right? The life force of
Yeah.
the universe, and kind of what it connects everyone to the universe and makes us one kind of big happy family.
So you're just giving the Jedi dogma right here. Way to be just a sheep, AJ, listening to mainstream Force users.
Just because I agree with some things doesn't mean I'm a sheep, okay? I can hear a lot of different opinions and choose one that I like. So what if all the coolest people also believe it too?
Kevin, how about you? What's your definition of the Force?
I think it's more of like a universal constant, like gravity, that some people just happen to be able to control. That's what I like to think of the Force as,
Yeah,
where
yeah,
like
yeah.
it is something kind of quantifiable but still nebulous. Like we don't actually know how or why gravity works in the way it does. Like we can study and understand what it does, but we don't know why.
So it's a but, like, it's a
You're gonna
thing
say a
of
force?
physics. It's a,
Yeah, I think it's
a
a
fundamental. Yeah, sure.
It's a
fundamental
fundamental
force.
like common
No, you can use-
element in all beings
Right.
and things, so that you could it's
Yeah.
like woven into the fabric of reality.
Sure,
Does that
sure.
make sense?
It's the Star Wars universe has what is it? 5 fundamental forces. Then
well,
you have
there's
gravity, electromagnetism, strong force, weak force, and just the force. You have the force.
Oh, the Force.
force.
Yeah, that's the fifth
Well, but there are
force.
4 different kinds of the Force.
What?
There are
There's-
4 different kinds of force, I think. Like of of like the force. There are 4 different like ways that they break it down.
Would you care to elaborate?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's the living force. There are actually different schools in all this, guys. Can you tell I read the Wikipedia page about this? Because I certainly did. So there are 4 different kinds of the force, and they all operate on different levels. I think this is what we're talking about when they try to make it a little too quantifiable and
this is already
categorized.
reeks of too much
Okay,
science.
so-
Yes.
What we think of mostly is the physical force. That's the ability to manipulate objects, to move things around, and sort of like you can jump up higher and kind of
Yeah.
play with physics.
The
Sure.
cool force.
Yes,
Yes.
the cool force.
which is like
The Superman
that
force.
plays into just my definition of the force, which is like what we see the force being like in the movies is you're just a psychic, like telekinesis,
Yeah.
telepathy is kind of what you have.
Yeah.
and
You're
some-
Jean Grey.
and some divination. Like you are granted visions of a possible future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just pretty much psychic, which is a trope we see in sci-fi all the time. They
Yeah.
usually shy away from magic, but like psychics are okay.
Yeah, not to go to, but as an example, in Firefly River it has some kind of psychic ability which lets her like see different things, and it's like,
Sure, yeah.
It was based
Firefly,
in, yeah.
Starship
Looper.
Troopers, Looper. Yeah, we
yeah.
see it. We see it in a whole bunch of
Yes.
just classic sci-fi and modern sci-fi. So
Yeah.
sorry, continue. So
Okay, so that's the. Oh,
I just wanted to jump in. Also, like you say that's the one that we're most accustomed to seeing. It also gives into the name the most because we see the force move things, which is like the
definition of
name
force.
of force is like pressure pushing, so it actually exerts a force
Was it
on
force
things.
times acceleration
So
equals
when
work?
when they do a Jedi mind trick,
I don't
are
know.
they just like pushing on their brain in like the right place?
So I mean, we can get into the mechanics of force, but do you want to finish?
Sure,
your-
sure. So I'll finish
your-
the other. Okay, so there are
thought.
3 others. There's the living force, which is what sort of whenever you see the Jedi's, like if if 1,000 voices cried out at once and were silenced, that's the living force, where it's a connection
Alderaan.
between all living beings. So you have this Jedi can tap into
Sure.
that connection, sort of get a reading on what's going on.
Great. So living force.
Yes. Then there's the cosmic force, which is I think the like life and death, like where it's like the transition between life and death of the force, where you kind of join like a singularity sort of.
Yeah.
I think that's one. And then there's a last one I'm forgetting. Oh,
Well, you
man.
said 4 and you've named
Yeah.
2. So
no,
there should
no,
be
no.
three.
Living
Name
force,
three.
physical force,
Physical
cosmic
force.
force.
I missed physical force.
And
It was the
oh,
first
man.
thing we talked about.
Man, why can't I remember the last one? There's
I
a
go in
fourth
and out
one.
when you guys talk.
Gavin, you have a
Terrible.
computer.
Hold on 1 second.
All right. Well,
We're not
all right.
gonna.
while
We can
Kevin,
come back to
yeah,
it.
I want to go
Unifying
back
force.
to this
Kevin,
Unifying
Jedi
force. I
mind
found it.
trick
Unifying force.
Unifying force.
Thing. Oh.
So that is again one of the that's I think the most nebulous one based on what I was
Where
reading.
and where do these come from?
This is all just I think these are all extended
Legends
universe
now?
things. Yeah, so legends mostly.
Well, in
No,
that
sure.
bit.
You don't need to look where they come
No,
from.
no, no, no,
Whoa,
no,
whoa,
no.
whoa.
But they all so like Qui-Gon Jinn mentions the living force.
Yeah,
that's
and
what
I've
that's
heard that in the movies.
Yes,
a
so
lot,
that's in the
yeah, and in
movies.
Clone Wars.
But I think the other ones are just kind of categorizations of things that we see. So I don't think they have any kind of official, relevance or like something that's been said. But it's like these are the ways in which the Force operates.
they're
It
logical
falls into these
deductions.
4. Yeah.
Where
into
if everything was the living force, you wouldn't be able to move a rock because the
Yes.
rock's not alive.
Correct.
Is the idea.
yeah.
Okay,
Gotcha.
I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, great. What do we know now that we've given our definitions? What do we know of the Force from the movies? Like what have the characters said them to be, and then like where do we think the kind of like official stances? Because a lot of this kind of comes from legends. Like we have like the two explanations we've had, which is like a very nebulous connection that binds all living things, and something to deal with blood bugs, midichlorians, right?
Yeah.
So
Blood
where are
bugs.
we? How do we think the Force relates with
Blood bugs,
midichlorians?
that's the
yeah,
worst.
right. Yeah, what do we think?
I guess. I mean, well, also if we're talking EU stuff, you also see abilities like being able to heal, and
Yeah.
and actually just what was it, healing. There's another one. There's a
There's-
couple other different things.
There's like battle meditation if you're doing the video games where it's like they can actually like cloud the minds of
Yeah.
soldiers in battle and influence.
I mean, you can do
vast
lightning
things
with
like
it.
that.
Like that's crazy. Like
Yeah,
like
just
you're-
channeling that energy.
Yeah. Anyway, but
Or no, staving off death, which is something that is
Yeah.
well,
hinted
transferring bodies is something that's in the EU too.
Yes,
Sorry, in
it
Legends
is.
you can transfer between like your own Force personality. You can transfer that between different organisms.
And if we're going back to the idea of being like a psychic, that's something that Professor Xavier was able to do.
at. Oh, like
Yeah.
astral
Trans-
projection.
yeah.
Guys, was Professor X a Jedi?
That's
Oh my God.
that's what
Well,
we're getting at here.
yes.
Yeah. So midichlorians. Where do we think midichlorians fit in with the Force?
So in the movies, they in the first three they were kind of using it to try and quantify where it
First
comes
movie.
from in the first movie.
Yeah.
right?
They don't mention again in 2 or
yeah.
3.
But,
But they do mention it in Clone Wars.
Yes.
right, isn't that what happened? They try to quantify and be like, oh, the Force comes from these things in your body, and they're like bugs, and that's the reasons. Because
Yeah.
shut up, and we're like, I don't think this is a good reason.
Please don't let this be why.
So then, didn't they like backtrack and be like, no, these are bugs that like communicate with the Force instead of trying to like quantify this universal energy.
They're present in people who are Force sensitive as opposed to being as opposed to causing it.
They
Right.
are a symptom.
Yes.
Yeah, not the result.
Right.
Is
Yeah.
I guess what they kind of
That's what they think. Where they landed
back
on it was
on.
that like it's an indicator, not a causality thing.
Yeah, and actually this
Nice use
is
of the word causality.
This is someone
you.
else's theory. This is actually Colin's theory, but he was talking about that
Glad
long
we all-
time ago, right? How it was the pinnacle of technology in the universe, and we had like nanotechnology, or Star Wars had nanotechnology, and that is the midichlorians that are like still within certain things and beings. So you having a lot of midichlorians
gross.
allows you to interact with other stuff with a lot of midichlorians, and it's just nanotechnology communicating with other nanotechnology.
That's some Neil Stephenson shit.
Right? It's kind of
Yeah.
it's out there, and like if they are in this dark age of technology, which it seems like they kind of
Yeah.
are, because technology has plateaued. We don't see like big advances. It's kind of like they're resting on their laurels. So it seems like
I would love if that was true, and then someone with a ton of midichlorians goes to a place that has a lot of other technology and just like keeps interacting with things but doesn't know what's going on. Like doors keep opening and windows fly open. Like, what the hell's happening right now?
What is that? All the automatic doors on the ships just open. It's like they don't design the doors to open that way. They just do. That's just what doors do.
This is what
They
doors do
open.
when you have a lot of midichlorians.
They overview. All right, so something has happened to this Force. Something has happened
Yeah.
to this like kind of mysterious.
We're talking in the movie
thing.
now.
In the movie. In the movie.
Yeah.
Yes. So now we're going to episode 7. We're saying the Force Awakens. So that means the Force has been asleep, I guess. So has the Force been asleep since the Jedi Order, and we're saying like now it's awakening, or has it been asleep for this interim time of 30 years, and now it's awakening?
Well, it seems.
And what does a Force awakening mean? Like, what are the practicalities of this happening?
So with the death of Palpatine and Vader, those were like two of the big Force users at the time, and then Luke
The
was
only two big Force
right,
users.
and also Yoda died,
Yeah.
and Obi-Wan died, which was basically the last of the Jedi Order. So the last of the Sith that we know of and the Jedi Order are basically dead, and now it's just Luke by himself. So yeah, I think the Force has been basically dormant, and people, even if they were Force sensitive, they didn't have the ability or the knowledge to cultivate that and grow their abilities with the Force. So it has been mostly dormant in the galaxy for 30 some odd years.
So you're saying the Force being dormant is a result of people not being able to manipulate the Force, because the Force has still been there.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like people being able to tap in and manipulate
the living
it.
Force is there,
Hasn't
but
gone away.
The wielding of the Force
Has.
as any kind of tool, instrument, or weapon has
Got it.
been
So
basically
you think the
non-existent.
Force is a constant? You're saying the Force is a constant that always exists, and the people's ability to wield it comes in and out and ebbs and flows.
I buy that.
Yeah, like if we're thinking of the Force as a tool, like if it was a weapon, it would be
Yeah.
an armory that has gone untouched, or if it was knowledge that they could tap into, it's a library that nobody's walked through. So it's still there. It's just nobody's gone through the doors. That's a metaphor.
Yeah. I
is.
disagree with it. I think it is like, because when they talk about the Force, they talk about it as if it's this living thing with a will of its own. So I think the Force either hasn't been imposing its will on the galaxy for a long time, or the fact that there has been just less of a Force in the galaxy.
Here's what I think.
So, sorry. Go ahead, Jay.
I was gonna say, so before, like during the Jedi Council, all that stuff, the Force was in balance, and then it got yanked to the dark side when all of them died, and then all the Sith died, and it kind of got yanked back. That tired me out. And the Force is being ripped around everywhere. He's tired of people's shit. He just wants to take a nap. And now it's like, okay, now I'll give you
Force
guys
nap.
a chance. Taking a Force nap.
Force
Yeah.
is just, how long's it been? All right, let's
30
get back to
years.
work. I feel good. I'm rested up. Let's do little things to this galaxy here.
Yeah. So why is it?
Well,
why is
I
it? Okay.
think-
Yeah. What do you think?
So there's the whole prophecy that Anakin is the one who's going to bring balance to the Force.
Balance.
A property of the Force we haven't talked about. It can conceive human beings.
Oh yeah.
That's a thing that which is just that only happened has happened once, I guess. But that's just a crazy thing.
That is also, we are assuming that Anakin's mom wasn't just a crazy woman.
Or a liar.
Both.
Or a lying crazy woman. Yeah, I think we're assuming that.
Yeah,
That is- that
yeah,
is
we're just in the
a
Star
pretty
Wars
strong
universe that
assumption.
that she would tell the truth. We think. Anyway,
anyway.
so my point is that he was brought to bring balance to the Force, which Vader does eventually. He kills the Emperor and everything. So if the Force is in balance, that means that it's not like you said, there's no pull one way or another. So it would just kind of I feel like that there would be some kind of end point to it. Does that make any sense whatsoever? Where it reached kind of a climax and it's settled. The Force settled, and I feel like there's some event that's taken place where the Force Awakening is that it's out of balance again, and it's so now there's Force on both sides.
Oh, okay. So it's like when people can tap into the Force, it's almost like there's a storm happening,
Yes.
and then it's this storm energy that they can tap into.
Again, this is a terrible metaphor, but it's almost like surfers, where it's like no. If there's no waves, you can't surf. You can't
Sure.
surf. But if there are waves and there are people who can surf really well, they can use those abilities and do really cool things with that.
Right.
Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
no,
actually
I
makes more
actually-
sense than I think you're giving yourself credit for. It's really good.
Yeah, no, I
Cool.
like that. And I would say too that Vader, I mean, I think there's been this argument of if Vader did bring balance to the Force, or if it was actually they got the prophecy wrong and Luke is actually the film of the prophecy. I think that goes back and forth and is kind of an unsettled thing. But if Vader did bring balance to the Force, we can equally say that him wiping out the Jedi Order was him actually bringing balance.
Yeah,
to the
he
Force.
Right,
did.
because he
That it
brings the
was too
Jedi
good.
to 2 and then 2
And
evil.
then two,
yeah.
yeah.
No, that does-
then he rebalances it, and then in Luke himself, there is these dark
And he's both good and
light
bad, yeah.
tendencies. So it's like, oh, he has actually
He is balance of the
balanced
Force. A dark Jedi, I think.
That's
of this.
interesting, especially because we see Luke or we don't see Luke rather a lot in the trailers or at all in the poster. So we think that he's probably not that. So he could have just gone away being like, okay, the Force is actually in balance. I've done my job.
Right.
And then something happens that's going to have to bring him out of retirement.
Yeah.
Because maybe he didn't want to start the Jedi Order because he inevitably sees the conclusion that, starting the Jedi Order unbalances the Force in favor of the light side. So then a genocide has to happen, essentially, of light side users. Or vice versa if it's dark.
Yeah, that'd be crazy if he had that insight, using the Force to see one possible outcome as if I do this one really good thing, one really bad thing has to happen to balance that. Yeah, that's really
I
cool.
also love the idea of Luke coming out of retirement.
Yeah.
I put that life behind me. No, you got to come back, Luke. One last job.
Then you're out for good.
Then you're out for good.
Is
All
he
right.
gonna say I'm too old for this
I'm
shit?
too old for this shit.
So if we're saying the Force is now reawakening for some reason, and it's probably trying to right itself or right the universe, what is wrong in the universe
Well,
then?
theoretically, if Luke has retired and has gone off to
His jersey's up in the rafters.
yeah, he's up in the rafters. He's with the greats. Then with the rise of the First Order, that means that there is going to be an imbalance. If the Knights of Ren hypothetically can use the Force, or other people, that means there are now more people that use the dark side of the Force than there are the light side. And maybe he's coming back and going to train people like Finn and Rey to use the light side of the Force to try and balance it out again.
That's interesting. Do you think he's willingly going to train? Or is it going to be
No, it's going to be...
No, it'll be.
I don't even know. Who wasn't a willing trainer? I guess Yoda.
Yoda
didn't
also.
want to
No,
train.
he is too old.
So
too
is it
old to
gonna
begin the
be-
training. That is not a good Yoda impression,
Yeah, yeah.
and
Yeah,
you're
who-
welcome.
What Muppet was that?
I mean, I could have done Kermit as Yoda, which would have just been, so good. I missed opportunity.
Shoot.
So why would Luke train though? Because if he sees this inevitability, why wouldn't he just go try to either take care of the Knights of Ren himself? Like, because I feel like if like dark side crops up and you train light side, that's just inevitably leading to like a forced arms race.
Yeah.
Rather than just like weeding out the problem at its root.
Exactly.
Immediately.
Also, is it possible just to be a balanced force user? Like we hear so much about light side or dark side. Is it possible to just like find the middle path?
That's the thing that like a lot
we say Luke is, but that's like us kind of stretching. Like I think it's considered canonically that he's a light side user.
Yeah.
Like he's not a dark side user.
Well,
He's
the thing
tempted
is,
by the dark side.
like the way the Jedi look at it is that they are balanced force users because the force comes from life. And so their idea is they're on the side of life. So whatever is good for like life is good for the force is good for them. Is I think the kind of the way they look at it is just that they're sort of a neutral party in that.
And it also seems like Jedi is for the good of all, whereas Sith is for the good of one. That's just kind of how the Force. They use the Force. The Jedi use it for like the good of the many, for life and making sure everybody can survive. Sith is like, I want power. I want to protect what I care about.
Yeah.
And I will do whatever I need to make that happen. So it's not necessarily evil. It's just selfish.
Yeah, but he does say, Anakin does. So it's like, why are you doing this? I'm doing this for peace. Like it's not. I don't know if the Jedi are that altruistic or if the Sith are that evil. Most of the time they are. Like I will say a lot of the time the Sith are going for power, but the means of power is usually stability in the universe.
Hey.
So we had some that was good work, everyone. So we had some technical difficulties. Apparently there were some issues with the cameras and the cards. The last person to use the cameras and the cards was Brandon Winfrey. So Brandon, not even on the podcast today and messing everything up.
Automatic -5 points next
We just
episode.
have to-
You know what?
like,
I'm
he just-
docking it. I'm gonna let him know like the next time. Yeah,
He
he's
just is going to start off with, -5.
Yeah,
There's
-5.
no way he's digging himself out of this.
Yeah, this is. I feel like this is also the first podcast where we've had to stop halfway through.
Yeah, and it was
It's
because
a
of
real bummer.
Because of Brandon messing with the cameras. Anyway,
back to Force using manatees.
Yes.
I love just
back to this rabbit hole we've gone
okay.
down.
Now just picture like a group like the Order, and they're like holding the manatee up like a classic emperor, and like with
Feeding
on
him
the
cabbage.
and like they're just throwing things at, and then there's a big battle that comes their way, and he's on the front lines, and he just moves his flipper, and just a starship goes flying. That's the coolest visual to me. It's so a manatee surrounded by stormtroopers and demolishing with things with the Force.
If anyone wants to fan art that, we'd love to see it.
I will pay so much money. To
How
have
much
that
money?
Hang on my wall. At least 5.
At least 5.
At
You
least
heard it here,
5
people.
money.
5 money.
At least 5 something.
You're gonna get 5 money.
We
I know,
Venmo.
we make fun of. We're laughing at this concept, but this is absolutely a believable concept to exist in Star Wars Legends. Darth Manatee.
Well, there are-
No, he wouldn't be Darth. He'd just be like the great.
There are Jedi
The
huts,
benevolent
which is pretty much what we're
Oh
talking
yeah,
about.
we are talking about a Jedi hut. I
Yeah,
guess
that's
you're
what
right.
we're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Which
Oh!
there is. Sorry, that's Legends now. But there is a Jedi hut. Yeah.
And it
How
was a
does he
Jedi
get
Order?
around?
What? Yeah, he was part of the Jedi, and then he went dark side, surprisingly, right?
Does
What
he
an
just
evil
force
hut.
like wiggle everywhere? How does he move?
That was the crazy thing. Like, I guess he gets into a lightsaber fight with Leia. I don't remember the name, but Leia ends up chopping him in half. It's like, of course she does.
Yeah.
Of course.
She
You
just
get
needs to
behind him, and he's like,
stand
"Oh, excuse me, excuse me, can you come back here, please?"
Yeah. I mean, that's
Excuse
right.
me.
When you have when you have the mobility of a bowl of Jello,
Yeah.
like
Yeah, the hut is just one big blind spot.
Sorry, I wasn't even doing like proper
You
Lucas
broke
speak
Trevor,
for that.
Yeah.
hold on, get out of my way. You know what? Actually, if you think about it, a hut learning to use the Force is actually really practical.
Yeah, for sure. It's great for a hut. All right, so I want to take us just like we have a few more minutes, so like time for one last topic. And the last thing
yeah.
I want to talk about is what Force powers do we want to see? Like what something's like, oh, if I had the Force, I would have done this in the movie. So what new Force powers do we want to see in the movie?
Ooh.
Like
New
yeah.
Force powers.
Like we kind of got in like 1, 2, and 3, we got some interesting stuff. Like we got a little more finesse with like actually throwing the lightsabers, more jumping, more
I want to see a
acrobatic
lightsaber
stuff.
throw.
So it's like, well, that already exists.
I know, but
so
it's
like,
like
what
barely
new
ever
stuff
happens.
do we want to see?
You know what I see? Like in a lot of different, there's like in Rebels where he's got the little slingshot. I want to see a person who just has like a rock that they carry around with them with the Force that they just use to just hit people with. Like when they're that just like it's like a second
just
thing.
bounce it back and forth like a
that they
pinball?
just kind of
Pinball?
use that
Pinball.
like
Yeah.
as a weapon. It's like you got a
Okay.
lightsaber and then you've got a rock that you just kind of like flip around with you.
That'd
All
be
right.
really cool.
I'm gonna try to do better than a rock. I'm gonna try to
I
do
think
better
it's
than
just a
Force
very
rock.
basic
I
use.
want to
That's
see.
neat.
So on the same, I guess note. I want to see a Jedi fight with a lightsaber with the Force. Like
Oh,
I
like
want to see
he's-
like 3 lightsabers just and him wielding them and just being
That'd be
like
so
just
sick.
That is
as
super
people. Yeah,
cool. Just
like-
somebody pulling a Kenji from Mortal Kombat, but
Yes,
with multiple
exactly.
lightsabers.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So yeah,
Sweet.
Force wielding lightsabers.
I want to see like this sounds bad, but like I want to see someone's head explode because of Force use.
Yeah,
you
like,
know,
for
because
sure.
we only see like choking or and that's it. But you have the Force enough to throw large objects.
Yeah.
You must have enough Force to be able to like make someone's head explode.
That's true. That
Which
and
there
then their
must
heart
be-
is gone.
Right,
yeah.
You
Yeah,
can
just
call
like-
him all them.
Yeah.
from-
There must be some kind of like morality code that even Sith apply to, like adhere to.
Sure, but maybe they could do that to a normal person, but to like a Jedi, maybe.
But then why wouldn't
they're
I
forced
mean, I
keeping
guess
their
I,
heart in place.
I know we don't see that because of a PG-13 rating, but like,
Yeah.
why in the extended universe don't we see something like that where it's just like your brain is now
maybe-
mush?
Yeah, Legends is vast. Maybe we do, and I don't know.
I guess so. All of these sound like really cool,
Yeah, bring us home, Trevor.
but I'm gonna set my standards a little bit like more realistically.
Well, this is all we have time
Okay,
for.
I
so
started
I'm
with a
building
rock.
it up.
Okay.
Go more realistic than me.
I want to see a Jedi do more than just push a barrel at somebody.
What do you want to see? So
That's-
scale. You want to see?
I
bigger
want to
scale.
see bigger stuff because they can do bigger stuff and they just don't a lot. They
So-
just like they'll just like push a thing.
Give
or
me an
whatever.
example, because like Yoda throws the Senate in
Right.
stuff,
That was
or
that was
Palpatine
great.
throws the Senate and Yoda.
That
deflects
was
the
awesome.
Senate.
Or like when Vader was trying to bring the roof down on Luke. That was great. But most of the time we just see Jedi like flinging
You wanna
barrels.
see more
I don't wanna
environmental
see that.
destruction.
I don't want to see that because I don't think it makes any sense. The Senate thing made sense because it was the two most powerful Force users in the universe at the time fighting each other. They're all dead. Like, there's no one who can use the Force like that anymore. I just don't think it would make any sense to see anything like that.
Unless you have like a prodigy, someone who comes and just instinctively has
Who
like,
was
incredible
conceived by
force.
the Force or something like that? Is that what we're talking about?
Maybe, I don't know. Or maybe it's like an idiot savant kind of thing. Like,
Oh, if
the
Kylo
Rain
Ren
Man.
would just
it's the Rain Man. The Jedi Rain Man.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah,
want to
definitely, yeah.
don't do it.
36. That's definitely 36 death sticks. 36 all right, that is all the time we have for today's podcast. On the podcast today, we had Matt Galupo. You can follow me on Twitter at Matt Galupo.
Trevor Adams, you can follow me at Howlett HOWIETT.
AJ Helfit, you can follow me at AJ Helfit.
And Kevin Burke, I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Kevin with a KEVIN.
All right, this has been the JKA podcast. Go check out jkagear.com. It's awesome. We're out.
3, 2, 1.
Hey! Hey, everyone. Thanks for watching that episode of the JKA podcast. Go check out jkagear.com for all your sweet Star Wars needs. Also, if you don't like our faces, you could check us out on iTunes. Please subscribe. It really helps us out. And if you're on iTunes, please leave a review. That's always really cool when you do that. Today on the podcast, we had Matt Galupo. You can follow me on Twitter. I'll just put it up.
Trevor Adams.
Damn it!
You can follow me
ruined
at
it.
Howlett
You ruined it.
HOWIETT.
It was such a good bit. AJ Helfit, you can follow me at AJ Helfit.
And Kevin Burke, you can follow me Twitter, Instagram at Kevin with a KEVIN.
Great.
Also, guys, keep looking to our contest. We are still
Yes.
doing Star Wars Battlefront. Send us your best Star Wars impersonation to jkacontest@gmail.com. We're going to do that November 17th, I believe, is the deadline for that.
Yeah. We'll put a link in the description so you can
Yes.
check out the contest. We'll definitely do that. All right. We're going to work on this a bit more, and we'll get back to you guys. We're out.
We're out.
Woo!
I got it.